Yeah, I just want to talk a little bit about some organizations that are a joke that claim they cure people, but they usually have a cure rate of about less than the natural, just, I don't know what you call it. They have the cure rate of like a placebo or natural remission. One is AA and treatment. I went through treatment years ago and I did stay sober because I wanted to, but almost everybody I went through treatment with didn't stay sober and was drunk within or high within 2 weeks partying. But they charged you thousands and thousands of dollars. And then you were only as sick as long as your insurance would cover it. You could be a street drunk, but if your insurance only paid for 20 days, you weren't that sick and graduated. If your insurance paid for a full 30 days or longer, you were sick and they'd keep you there. And AA, I'm not saying they're a bad organization. I do have relatives who are true alcoholics, but most of the people in AA are not alcoholics nowadays. They got popped for a DUI, or they got caught pissing after they drank, and they got sent to AA. And a lot of them are young people, and they get convinced that at like 19 they're a drug addict. I mean, it's an alcoholic, and they all start talking like out of this big book, like the founders, which the founders of AA were true alcoholics, like some of my relatives who are physically addicted to alcohol, drank alcohol around the clock. But even though they didn't, and they just all parrot this shit, the other thing is AA is very dishonest. They say you can believe whatever you want. You can if you keep it to yourself, but if you share it in a meeting, you'll be shouted down until you parrot exactly what they want to hear, the party line. The Catholic Church, which I'm a Catholic, is less dishonest than AA because, and so is the Baptist Church and most churches I've been to, or even Muslims. They tell you what it's all about before you join. They tell you when you go through RCIA to become a Catholic, to be a Catholic in good standing, what is required of you. AA lies. They say you don't have to believe in God. But if you don't believe in God, you'll be persecuted and yelled at and whatever. You have to believe, in a lot of places, you have to be a liberal and believe homosexuality is okay. There's a whole mess of things, depending on the group, you have to believe in AA. It's a bunch of bullshit. It has a low cure rate. And a lot of them switch addictions. They just go from compulsive drinkers to compulsive gamblers. And I've known a lot of people in AA aren't even really sober. They'll say they're sober for 10 years. But then when you drop out of AA and go to a bar, you see them there drinking and shit. It's a bunch of horse shit. And the mental health system's horse shit too, because like there's this organization called Community Alliance, and they wanted me to stay, but I was bored as hell because the classes were for like morons, people who couldn't even handle a high school class, and their job source program was retarded too. They did nothing to help you and told you what to do, and then you do it, which I already knew what to do. And then they say, see, we helped you find a job at Burger King. Aren't we wonderful? Like most people couldn't fill out an fucking application at Burger King or something anyway. You have to be pretty fucking low IQ not to be able to fill out a minimum wage job application. I know there's people that's stupid, but that's probably the only people that help. The other thing that they do that's fucking retarded is they have this day program where they have all these classes that repeat over and over and over again. And they'll let you stay for 20 years as long as your insurance keeps paying for it. But when your insurance does stop paying for it, then all of a sudden you've made tremendous progress. You've graduated. It's party time. Just want to tell you about the bullshit that goes on in Omaha. There's a lot of bullshit and waste in our government and in the mental health system. And I guess people are free to shit in the street and in shitty apartment buildings in the ghetto because you can't commit them for any long period of time to a group home or a mental hospital. They're just free to run the streets babbling like idiots and being idiots because they won't take their meds. And I do take my meds. I don't know if I really need them because I'm convinced years ago this guy who threatened to rape me in a halfway house gave me acid because I stood up to him and was going to kick his ass. But who knows? They didn't give me any therapy. They just put me on drugs right away. I do know I stopped hallucinating long before the drugs should have started working. And yeah, so now I'm stuck, labeled mentally ill. And it kind of pisses me off because most people with my so called mental illness can't find their ass with both hands. They don't brush their teeth. They don't shower. They can't hold even a part time job. They can't tell you with be on time. I'm not even talking being 15 minutes late. I'm talking about like they'll get distracted and be like 2 hours, 3 hours late. That's how fucked up they are. And they put me in the same classification in this group. And they wanted me to be a peer support specialist. Well, guess what? I ain't going to be one because I fucking hate thieves and junkies and meth heads. And I don't feel sorry for them. The other thing I hate is this guy told me that he had to deal with child molesters because they're supposedly labeled as sick. They're sick. They need help. What they need is a bullet in their fucking brain. That's what a child molester needs, or a severe beating. With this, molest my grandchildren when I'm too old to do anything. When I have grandchildren, I'll bring a shotgun and shoot your fucking groin in the balls and let you bleed to death. Molest my grandchildren. Fuck, child molesters need help. If I was a peer support specialist and a child molester who hurt a child came to me and told me he was thinking about committing suicide, I'd say, yeah, you're a fucking scumbag. You probably should commit suicide. That's what I would say to him. And if you're a child molester watching this, cut your fucking nuts and balls off. Cut your balls and penis off because that's what you deserve.